This is e-Courage Services Show at Spreaker.com. I am your host, Encouragement Javi. This week we're going to be doing Greatness is Within You, Episode 1. On this podcast, we're sharing how to change your mindset so that you can allow the greatness that is in you to come out by applying your greatness in your life on a daily basis. First, in order to apply greatness in your life so that you can allow your mindset to change, your attitude will determine your success in life. You have to recognize and understand that your attitude will determine your success in life. Your attitude starts with your mindset, how you are choosing to think. Whether you know it or not, our attitudes are formed by how we begin to think. And unfortunately, some of us, when we were growing up, were conditioned to think negatively. Say, for example, perhaps we had parents that viewed everything as negative. Or perhaps we had someone in our life who was very abusive as a child, and that formed and shaped our way to think. And as we got older, because of that, maybe it caused us to worry a lot. And we might not have known that shouldn't be something that's ongoing in our lives. But somehow we never realized that. And it could simply be because what we're around, sometimes we can become alike, especially as a child. If that's all you're around is negativity, sometimes we tend to form ideas and opinions and live our life the way we see it being done. So this is what makes us respond to events and circumstances in our life, how we see things, how we think about things. So how can we make the decision to change and grow? First of all, we have to realize, in order to make the decisions to change and grow, that we recognize a problem. For example, in my life, I was a child of abuse, a victim of abuse. However, I'm a conqueror. I wasn't a conqueror when I was a child going through the abuse. This is something that I have learned to do as I got older. I wanted to make the decision to change and grow my mind. And how I did that was every time I began to have like some type of anxiety issues, worry, I got so tired one day I finally said, I can choose not to worry all day long. Is it that important? And so instead of worrying, every time it came back to worrying, because you got to remember, I had conditioned myself to think that way, even though I didn't mean to. As a child, I had conditioned myself to think that way. So I started thinking about something positive. And then besides something positive, I started thinking, now how can I choose to think about something else? For example, if I will get on a certain outfit and wear it, and I might say, oh, how does this look? How does this look? How does this look? Do I look okay? Do I look okay? Do I look okay? Well, it kept going around my head over and over again. And finally, and I didn't even want to think about it, I said, I am okay. This looks all right. End of story. I choose not to think about it anymore. And of course, because I was conditioned that way, it continued. But every time I thought that way, I would say, I am okay. I look fine. And eventually, about a month to 2 months later, all of that anxiety and worry about certain things started wearing off. But also, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25 says, Anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. So in other words, worry in the heart of a man, woman, man, can cause depression, but a good word makes it glad. So what I started doing was producing also good words in my mind, because we're conditioned within the mind, and I began to realize if I can mentally start having and hold on anxiety, then I would be okay spiritually. And this is something that I had to learn to do, is through using good words to attack any anxiety in the mind. So you want to form the way that you respond to situations and become a proactive participant in your life. You want to form the way that you respond to situations and become a proactive participant in your life. This is how you do it. Secondly, you also want to think before you respond, because what you speak is very, very important. It can affect your thinking and how you look at certain situations. In other words, you don't want to bind yourself up by how you are choosing to respond just because of a present situation. I had to deal with this many a time. Say, for example, if I heard of something bad, some type of bad news, or something had happened and my day didn't go well, I will automatically respond not so good. And then I had to realize, I'm making myself nervous for nothing. Why make yourself all nervous, all tensed up, and all bent out of shape when I can be proactive and choose to think before I speak and respond with the present situation without getting all angry and getting all upset about it? So I started choosing to think before I respond, and then I looked at if I respond with anger, it would not only give bad vibes, it would create an atmosphere concerning my whole attitude, and it would not be good for me, especially because sometimes we can produce toxic chemicals in our body based on our own whatever we're experiencing, whether it's anxiety, whether it's anger. Like if we produce love in it, the happier we are going to be. We're going to enjoy life a little bit more pleasant. And so our mental mindset also produces the atmosphere of how we're thinking, the atmosphere of how we're living. And that is very, very important. The reason it is so important is because you have to live with yourself. And you have to choose either to live with yourself by getting along with yourself, by accepting yourself, and loving and forgiving yourself no matter what you've done and no matter what you're going through. Or you can choose to be in chaos every day and worry. And if that's working for you, then maybe you should continue to do it. But if it's not working for you and you're getting tired of it, this is the way you do it, by choosing to think before you respond, and choosing when you do have worry going on so that you won't produce depressive episodes, is to simply say, maybe this is a situation I cannot change, but I am going to decide for myself and for my mental health and wellness that I am going to think positively about this situation. Think how I can choose to deal with this by being proactive without getting angry. And I'm going to show love in dealing with this situation. Another example would be, I have a Christian friend who, she would say, for example, this is not of God, that's not of God. And one time what she did was she said, I don't like people who do this, this. And she was talking about the way they were eating. And if that's what she wants to do, that's fine. But negative vibes like that produces anger. You're creating an atmosphere already from your mindset about being angry. And she is not a very happy Christian at all. And she doesn't understand why she is not happy, even though she has received Jesus Christ into her heart. And it's simply because she's producing a negative atmosphere around her by how she's thinking and how she's responding, and by telling other people because she is a Christian they don't need to do this, and this, and eat that way around her. Well, also she doesn't understand once she received Christ, it does not mean tell people you can't do this, and this, and that because that's not of God and blah, blah, blah. If that's what she wants to do, that is fine. But God pricks and works on individuals' hearts. And until He does, and He will, people have to choose to respond and see for themselves what's not healthy and what's healthy for them, because what might be healthy for her might not be healthy for somebody else. God knows the person. He has created the person. He knows everything about them. He knows what they like and don't like. And that's how come it never works when you are trying to make someone change or to act a certain way just like you. You can only change yourself. And if you learn to get a hold of that and work on yourself and pray for other people, your whole atmosphere around you will change as well. Please know that this is a process. It is going to take time to continually to choose not to think about worrying. This is a proactive choice that you are now making for your life. So, therefore, now you can begin to have a different type of attitude because the atmosphere of your mind is changing. And guess what? You're choosing to change it. Please know as well, you have the freedom to choose who you associate with. Everything you do affects your attitude, for better or for worse. Who are you choosing to influence you? That's very important. I had to look at who am I choosing to influence me. Proverbs chapter 12 verse 26 said, "The righteous choose his friends carefully, for the way of the wicked can lead them astray." What does this verse mean to you? Sometimes even a person who has a negative mindset can lead us astray. It doesn't necessarily have to mean somebody who's not a Christian. Sometimes Christians who have a negative mindset can lead us astray by their views. That's why it's important to get a hold of God for yourself. It is important how you see things. It's very, very important because how you see things will make you view the world that way. Lastly, if you want to achieve the goals you have set and receive the benefits of your goals, then you must accept full responsibility for how you are choosing to think. And make sure you be prepared to protect one of your most valuable assets, which is the mind, which helps shape the atmosphere of your whole attitude, of your whole life, of how you see things, or how you view people. Your mind is very important and you want to protect it. And it's very important what you put into it, such as movies, music, who will allow to counsel us. That's very, very important because sometimes people can mean well, but at the same time they can be condemning, and you want to watch that atmosphere, around you, and quietly separate yourself from people who tend to have an attitude that's negative when it comes to condemning, an attitude that just seems to be angry all a time, or they always want to bring up your past. Is very, very important. Because the Bible tells us you want to have a renewed mind. And it's hard to have a renewed mind when you have someone with that type of negative energy. which is why it's important, even though some people might be Christians, if they're not growing in Christ and not willing to change